Let's take a look at how we can modify several interior materials for our project that we're working on. We'll go to the Enscape main entry view and then click the Start button on the Enscape tab. Now that we have Enscape open, we'll take a look at how we can adjust some of the materials for this particular space. We'll start with the wall paint. Over in Revit, we'll toggle the option here to select elements by face, so I can select this wall quickly, edit type, edit structure. We see that the material is PT1. We open up the material dialog box and see PT1. We don't want to overwrite PT1 with a brand new material because you can see we have a lot of information here, such as manufacturer and model number. We also don't want to lose the RGB value. This is related to the actual paint we're using, but we'd like to upgrade this paint material to look a little bit nicer. So I'm going to click on the Replace This Asset button, which opens up this dialog. I'm going to type paint, and we'll see that some of these are the legacy materials, but then we also have this one that has orange peel in the name. It's one of the new advanced materials. This is a quite nice material, so we push that into our project. Up here under the information section, we should rename this, as we can reuse it in other places for other materials as PT1. And then we're going to edit the color to be the correct Sherwin-Williams paint color. On the Graphics tab, I can check this box again. Maybe I unchecked it just so I could make sure I didn't lose the number. Imported the new appearance asset, edited the RGB, and then check Use Render Appearance so that the shaded views will match. We'll click OK to apply that material. And now in Enscape, you can see we have a quite a nice material effect going on with the paint. Let's do something similar for the paint on the steel on the stairs. So we need to figure out what the material is. We'll select the stairs, go to Edit Type. We're going to edit the support type to see what material is being used. So PT4 is the material being used for the paint on the stairs. So now that we know the material the stairs are using, we'll go to the Manage tab, Materials. I could type PT4 at the top and get that material so that I can select it, go to the Appearance tab, and I'll do the Replace This Asset option. And then in the Appearance library, we'll expand Paint, Powder Coat Smooth, and then it doesn't matter which one we select because we're going to change the color. So I'm going to click to load that Powder Coat Gray into the material that I currently have selected. And because I didn't uncheck this option on the Graphics tab, the RGB value of the shade color changed. But I have this information written down. So 139 for red, 97 for green, 82 for blue. And now you'll see on the graphics tab that updated. So we're going to want to make sure we change the name of this appearance asset. And then when we apply that, Enscape quickly updates, and we can see it's pretty shiny, maybe a little too shiny, so we'll go back into the material dialog box in Revit. On the appearance tab, we can bump the roughness down, maybe 0.2, 0.02, 0.03, we'll try that. That looks pretty good. So at certain angles it's still pretty bright, but you could use that method to continue to modify so it's maybe not quite so reflective. Let's go ahead and adjust that one more time. Maybe 0.01. Alright, now we'll look at another material here, maybe the wood on this reception desk. We can make this look a little bit more realistic with one of the new advanced materials. The first thing we need to do is figure out which material is being used. This is a modeled in place reception desk, which is appropriate with the fact that it engages this angled wall and continues past around a couple of walls, so it's engaging elements within the model. If we select one of these wood strips, we'll see it's the reception desk WD1, so wood number 1 material. Now that we know that, we can cancel the model in place and then just go directly to the material dialog box to modify this material. So we select this material. On the appearance tab, we see it's a maple. We see the word wood here. We have the orange triangle, so it's a legacy material. We'll go to the replace this asset option. Maybe just type maple. And we see there's several advanced materials for maple. So maple semi-gloss. I'm going to load that into the project. In the name, I'm going to make sure I add WD1 just so we can track this. Then we'll hit apply or OK to apply it. And now we have a nice, crisp, high definition maple material, but we have the problem with the grain orientation. So there's a couple ways of dealing with this. There's not always a perfect way because we may want different orientations. So here's the first opportunity is to rotate the texture. So that would rotate it everywhere. We could duplicate this material and duplicate the asset and have a 90 degree and a 0 rotation. But if we wanted to rotate it everywhere, we would rotate the albedo 90 degrees, rotate the roughness 90 degrees, rotate the relief map 90 degrees, hit OK, and now we see that all the texture has rotated everywhere that it exists. But if we only wanted one of these to rotate, or at some point we had a vertical element, another trick that we can use is to modify the material on the graphics tab to have a model pattern. So we'll select a smaller 4x4 tile pattern that's a model fill pattern. And when you can see a fill pattern like this, we'll select this group and edit group. That's the first thing we have to do. And then I'll tab in. Revit lets you select a model pattern and rotate it. So we can rotate this 90 degrees and then finish the edit in place. And then when that change is pushed out to Enscape, the one that I modified now has a rotated wood grain. So I could modify every single one of these to have a different orientation by rotating the model pattern. So those are just a few examples of how we can continue to develop the materials used in the model to make the experience in Enscape much more realistic. Using advanced materials causes a lot more light to bounce around and look brighter and more crisp because of that light and the high quality assets that are used within the model.